Hi guys, welcome back. So I have placed my pattern on my fabric and I've cut them out. So basically I added stay to the extra 3 inches on my shirt pattern, and also added stay on my collar stand and also my band, and also I cut 2 pieces of each. Then I'll be folding the extra 3 inches on my shirt to make it 1 inches for my button hole and my button stand too. So just sewing it down on a very smooth straight line basically. So it's just an easy just an easy thing. Just press your sewing machine and just sew it straight down. Then I'll be adding my center back to my center front. I'll actually be joining them on the wrong side, not on the wrong side, not on the right side, because obviously the right side is actually the good side, where would be shown when you're done, or where would be outside. So you'll be placing it on the wrong side and joining the two shoulders together. And also joining the two sides together. So I'll be joining the two shoulders together right now. Placing it on the wrong side and joining them together. I would also be joining the two sides, that's from the armhole down to the waist. I'll be taking like 1 inches out and I'll be joining them together, and also be joining the other side too together. Next I'll be doing is showing you is to sew my collar, my upper collar together, and basically just joining the upper part and leaving the lower part, which I'll be joining to my collar stand. So I'll only be sewing the sides of the collar and the upper part of the collar, basically just sewing the side and the upper part of the collar. Then after that, I'll be notching each side to give it a smooth finishing and to help it relax better. And I'll be giving that a smooth press. I'll actually be pressing it down later on. So this is basically what the upper part of the collar looks like without it being joined to the collar stand. This is what it looks like. So now I'll be joining the collar stand and the upper part of the collar together, just placing it in between the two pieces that I have actually cut and estayed together. I didn't estay the two pieces, I only estayed one piece of the collar stand basically. So I'll be opening them up, and basically this is what the collar stand or the collar looks like without it being joined to the shirt itself, to the main shirt itself. This is what it looks like. So I'll be ironing that down flat like that, folding it and ironing that, placing them on each other and ironing that to give it like a smooth finishing. So basically I'll be opening up my collar stand and sewing one part of my collar stand to the main fabric itself. This is to hide the seam and not to show any seam on my collar area at all. So I'll be sewing 1/2 inch on one part of my collar stand to the main fabric. After doing that, Then I'll be folding in the other part of my estayed collar stand to the fabric, folding in 1/2 inch to cover up the seam. This is to give it the perfect knit finishing around the collar. So when we are done with that, I'll be sewing in my allowance, which I have added to my sleeve, that's 1 inches, and also sewing in the 1 inches which I have added to my flare. Note that I added seam allowance to all my fabric when I was cutting it. I added 1 inches on the sides of the shirt pattern. I added 1/2 inch on the collar area and the neck area on each fabric. So basically I'll be joining my flare and my main sleeve together. This is to give me a complete full sleeve, or to give me my complete full sleeve length basically, and my complete full sleeve length is 24. So this is what it looks like after being sewn together. So I'll be adding or joining my sleeve to my armhole. You know, the upper part of the sleeve, I'll be joining to my armhole. It's all pinned and well, so I'll be joining to my armhole to give it the complete sleeve. So the next thing I'll be doing now is adding 3 inches elastic to my main fabric itself. That's what I'll be doing there is since my elastic is 3 inches on my fabric, I'll be going in by 6 inches instead to actually give it that gathers that I need. Then after that, I'll be taping finishing the bottom part of my fabric. So after that, I'll be marking my buttonhole. There's 2 inches on each side. So this is the finished look for the shirt, and it looks perfect. To me, it looks perfect, and that's the button 2 inches below, and that's it looks perfect. You can basically see me feeling myself already. How can a girl be this fine? How can a shirt be this fine? Have you ever seen? Have you ever seen? So next thing I'll be doing now is taping my band together. That's a 2-piece, just taping the upper part of my band together. We'll be doing the same thing we did for the collar, and after taping them together, I'll be joining the 2 sides of my band together. So I've sewn the upper part of my band together, and I've also ironed it. So I'll be joining the 2 sides of my band together. The next thing I'll be doing is taking in the darts for my shorts, and I'll be putting the front and the back of my shorts. I'll be sewing the 2 hip lines together. Basically sewing 2 hip lines together, and after sewing 2 hip lines together without joining the 4 parts together, just the 2 sides, then after sewing the hip line together, I'll be sewing the crotch line together. So I'm marking 1 inches and sewing the hip line together, sewing the hip line to the waist together. Then I'll be turning to the crotch part also and sewing 1/2 inch, because I added 1/2 inch for allowance on the crotch side when cutting on the fabric. So after sewing both sides, I'll be joining my 2 folded or my 2 sewn seams together, joining the crotch part to combine the the two parts together from the middle. How will I explain? From the middle point, from the midpoint of the crotch, like just the midpoint, just sewing it straight and aligning every part together. So basically this is what it looks like after being sewn. Then I'll be adding the band to the waist of my shorts, sewing one part off the band before I join the other parts, like that, like so, to give it a neat finishing. With a neat finishing. Then after that I'll be adding my zip. I couldn't find an invisible zip, so I opted for the long zip. Then I'll be cutting it short. Because I couldn't get an invisible zip, I decided to sew my zip this way, the olden days way to sew zip. I had to sew it this way, and just so basically this is what my shorts and my shirt looks like, and I can tell you it looks perfect already. Like, this is perfect. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.